welcome to 805 Focus. I'm Dr. Cynder Sinclair with Nonprofit Connect, and we will be bringing you the latest on your favorite nonprofits. So get ready to be inspired. Our special guest today is Ariana Kotovich, and Ariana is Executive Director of the Wildlife Care Network. Welcome, Ariana.
Hi, thanks for having me, Cynder. It's nice to be here.
Oh, gosh. You have so much to tell, I know, because your organization does so much important work. And so please tell us, and you've grown a lot, I know, in the past. So please tell us what you're up to today.
Okay. Well, Wildlife Care Network is our community's wildlife rehabilitation and rescue organization. We operate in all of Santa Barbara and Ventura County, so we have a big service area. And we get between 3,500 and 4,500 animals a year of 220-ish different species. So songbird, seabird, all kinds of mammals, sometimes reptiles, amphibians. We even had a couple tarantulas this year.
Golly.
So, you know, we never really know what's coming through our doors at any given time, you know, of the year. But we're open, you know, in our community 365 days of the year to rescue and rehabilitate wildlife.
So anytime that someone, okay, so tell me how it works. Somebody sees, is this how it typically goes? Somebody sees a wildlife in trouble and they call you, or they pick it up and take it to you, or how does that work?
Yeah, so usually members of the public are the ones that are finding animals and bringing them to us. And what usually happens is they may see, you know, an injured pelican or an orphaned little hummingbird or something like that, and they call our helpline.
Okay.
And our helpline is open 7 days a week from 9 to 5. We have a whole volunteer crew that answers the helpline, and we will either walk those members of the public through how to get the animal to us, or we will send out a volunteer rescuer to actually go pick it up. And in some cases, we will instruct the member of the public to call animal control. So if someone finds a bat or a raccoon or a skunk, something in that genre of mammal, then they need to call animal control, who can help get it. And sometimes, you know, someone finds an injured hawk. That's a very intimidating animal to capture. So we'll send someone out to do that.
Gosh.
Yeah.
So does animal control then sometimes call you, come fix this raccoon? Animal
control and Santa Barbara Wildlife Care Network have a strong relationship, and so they often bring us animals for treatment. So any wild animal that can be treated, we have a good relationship with the officers, and we see them in our parking lot frequently with drop-offs,
But it's better for animal control to pick up certain kinds of animals because there's a special way to capture them.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, safe capture is really important. And because we work in wildlife, we also work with animals that have potential disease, like rabies, for example.
Oh, yes.
So that would be raccoon, skunk, bat, fox, you know, coyote, any one of those what we consider to be a rabies vector animal. So you don't want to touch them with your bare hands. And you certainly want to call in an expert. So what we tell everyone is just call us, just call our helpline no matter what you find, and we'll walk you through it. Yeah.
I knew about bats, of course, with the rabies thing, but I didn't know about those other animals.
Yeah, I don't want to scare you. I mean, the incidence of these things are very low, but we take those precautions very seriously, you know, and so better to be safe than sorry in any way.
Gosh. Yeah. And so you're open all the time.
Yeah.
And you serve both counties, so you have offices in both counties?
We have one location where we're located in the foothills of Goleta.
Okay.
We have a brand new wildlife hospital, which we're very excited about. And, you know, with that comes our veterinary program and some of these other incredible things that we're able to do at our facility. But we're located in Goleta, so we have an incredible transport network of volunteers out of Ventura, from the North County that get animals to us. And then actually we have to go back to those places to release the animals when they're ready to go free and back into the wild.
Gosh. gosh. So I read about that hospital. Congratulations. You
Thank
did a
you.
capital campaign to make that possible.
Yeah, we did a big capital campaign. You know, it was always the vision, I think, of our founders, and we're 35 years old this year. So it was the vision of our founders to have a wildlife hospital. And for many years, the organization operated out of people's homes. And then I actually rescued a crow when I was 18 years old as a student at UCSB and brought it to a tiny little place on Garden Street. And the organization, you know, did a capital campaign to purchase a property in Goleta over a decade ago. And then we built, you know, a state-of-the-art wildlife hospital during COVID, really. And, you know, just incredible generosity. You know, we operate 100% on generosity for our general operations and for the capital campaign. And, you know, seeing the up-leveling of the facility and our ability to care for animals is really staggering. You know, we have a dedicated, we used to do everything in one room, you know, intake, laundry, dishes, medications, you know, oil washing, all of our seabirds, everything was in one little building. And now we have a purposeful room, you know, for songbirds with specialized lighting just for them and temperature control. And we have an whole seabird wing that is, you know, made to de-oil animals. And we have a mammal nursery and a surgical suite and radiology and just all of these things that were not really possible before. So we can do more for the animals. We can do it faster. You know, if an animal comes in with a broken wing, we can x-ray it right then and there, do diagnostic tests, and we have a very capable and wonderful veterinary team that, you know, can do incredible treatment. So it's really been a huge advancement for the organization. And I would say just, you know, what I see every day, to be honest, is people who are just desperate to find help for an animal that they have found. I mean, it's stressful, you know, to find a pelican with a hook or line entanglement, or to find that little featherless baby bird on the ground, or, you know, the orphaned possum, you know, and it's so important, you know, for that person to know where to go and find the help. And then I get to see how relieved they are to bring it to us. Yeah. And then I feel just incredibly grateful to be able now to have this enhanced service, you know, so that we really are truly giving these animals what they deserve.
Gosh, and you do all this through tax-deductible donations.
Right, we operate on generosity.
That is amazing. And so, being a 501c3, you do accept tax-deductible donations, and a person can go on your website, and I bet you have a Donate Now button.
Yeah, of course we do. Yeah, we have a lot of ways to donate on our website. People can, you know, make a one-time contribution. People can, you know, give to us monthly. We have a legacy program, and people can even shop our wish list on Amazon, which is really, you know, actually a huge amount of support for us. We go through so much supplies, you know, all these animals need, you know, bandages and heating pads and enclosures, and we've had donors buy incubators for us or sponsor the worms for the year. Yeah, so like our songbird team, you know, songbirds, I would say, is one of the busiest rooms in our spring baby season, right? Animals have their babies in the spring, and so we get lots of baby birds, and there can be up to 100 baby birds in the songbird room, and all those babies have to be fed every 20 to 30 minutes from dawn until dusk. Oh my gosh. And it comes to thousands of feedings a day, and they all eat, you know, high protein, you know, diets. That means insects, and they are offered whatever their diet requires: seeds or nuts or fruits or nectar or whatever that may be. And so all of that really adds up for us. So
yes,
it's fun to see people kind of shop our wish list for us and get things in the mail.
that is
Yeah.
a great idea.
Yeah.
Shop Amazon. for
Right, yeah.
Wildlife Care Network.
Right, exactly.
I can see that would be a big help, though.
It is. It's enormous, you know, to be able to have support coming from all forms. And we honor all of our donors. And, you know, network is in the name of our organization for a very specific reason, because it takes this incredible network of community members that are rescuing animals, you know, that have the compassion, which is a lot of people, and our network of volunteers, which, you know, donate time to us. You know, we have about 100 at least regular volunteers. And those are people that give us, you know, 4 hours a week of their time to do a variety of things. And they're not clean jobs usually. They're, you know, cleaning cages and, you know, washing dishes and doing the laundry and answering the phone and rescuing animals. And so that's another wonderful way that people can really donate to us is through their time. And we're always accepting, you know, new volunteer applications. So our network is very broad, you know, between our donors and our rescuers and our volunteers and, you know, and our staff.
And your staff,
Yeah.
So if a person wants to volunteer, they can go on your website and find out how to do that.
Yeah.
And then do you train them in how to take care of these animals?
Yeah, so we have a volunteer tab on our website. People fill out an application and then they get followed up with, and we'll do an orientation, and we do give them training based on kind of where they're selecting to volunteer. And we have training videos and you know, things written down, and then we also walk people through the center and show them the steps. And we have volunteers that, you know, drop in for, you know, like we had this pelican crisis last year. We had 250 people show up to help us out, you know, during this really stressful month. And then we have volunteers that have been with us for years, you know, that start, you know, they start washing dishes, and then before you know it, they're, you know, tube feeding a pelican, you know, with our staff.
Gosh.
So there's a lot of ways for people to really, you know, be involved and stay involved in our organization.
So it sounds like people are going to go on the website and get themselves involved.
Yeah, we hope so.
So let's go back to your hospital. I saw a picture of it on your website. Congratulations again. So you have staff there, some of whom are veterinarians, or veterinarian staff, I think you called them.
Yeah, so we have a veterinarian, Director of Veterinary Services, Dr. Alderetta, and she really manages every aspect of our medical care. It's fairly unique, and as far as wildlife centers go, to have a full-time vet on staff, but because of that, you know, we can do so much. And so she has veterinary assistants that help her, and then she also works very closely with, you know, our Director of Rehabilitation and our animal care staff to learn how to do a variety of techniques and procedures under her supervision. So our staff, by having a veterinarian on our team, can do so much more, learn so much more. So it's really been a huge enrichment piece to our program and our offering.
Almost like a teaching hospital.
Yeah, in some ways, yeah. And you know, through that, we can offer veterinary internships and externships. So hopeful veterinarians, folks that are studying in vet school currently, or you know, are licensed vets that want to receive this very special training in wildlife medicine, which is a very niche, you know, piece of being a vet. You know, so they can all come to us for that as well and apply to be part of those programs.
That's great. So, yeah, I was going to ask you. So, what's the difference in a, you know, what we think of as a regular veterinarian and one that specifically takes care of wildlife? Right.
Well, you know, of course, you know, a lot of us have our pets, and our dogs and cats, or you know, even horses, and you know, there are veterinarians that kind of specialize in general veterinary medicine, and there are, you know, the folks that you see with the clinics around town, and then there's this sort of wildlife veterinary, you know, subset of being a DVM, and these people are dedicated to wildlife medicine, and we don't, in our world, we don't mix domestic pets and wildlife, or even exotic animals and wildlife. Wildlife is its own kettle of fish, if you will, right? And so it's an emerging field. It's not as established, say, as I would say, small animal medicine. And so it's this kind of new and evolving field. And so I think it's exciting for someone who really wants to focus on wildlife, one, because you never know what's coming through the door, Right. And so it really takes, I think, a specific person and mentality. And, we could have a bobcat. It could be 13 baby possums. It could be 30 pelicans, and sometimes all at once, And so their day is like, I admire her so much, and the team, actually the entire team, because the way that they have to manage their time and prioritize their tasks, and it's really something. It's a unique privilege to see, actually, up close. Yeah.
Ariana, I bet you have a story or two you could share with us.
Oh my gosh, there's so many. I hardly know where to begin. I will say that as I said, we never really know what's coming, and we're open 365 days of the year and holidays and all of that. And so it was a Labor Day weekend, and one of our volunteers was alerted that there was a fox trapped in a tube, like it had been hunting, and it got its head just firmly stuck in a tube. And our team went out to assess the fox, including our veterinarian. And what they ended up doing was sedating the fox and getting the tube off of its head, cutting the tube off of its head, and making sure that there wasn't anything wrong with it. And they actually, I believe, also treated him for parasites and, fleas and some other things.
Give him a little bath.
Give him a little tune-up for that fox. But make sure nothing was, amiss. And then they were able to release it back into the wild. And that was a pretty quick turnaround. It just happened in the same day, really. But sometimes we see these other really dramatic stories. There's a great horned owl in our care, right now, actually, that had a skin graft for a very, deep wound. And that animal's been in our care probably over 20 days at this point. And so we see these really interesting stories, and I'll share one more, which is, I work in this work, it's my life, and I've done this now since 2017. And I was walking through the center, and I saw one of our staff walking with a hummingbird in a enclosure, soft-sided enclosure. I said, are you going to go put the hummingbird in the aviary? Because we have an outdoor aviary where these songbirds, after they've been in our kind of nursery, get to go out and fly and, find forage and other things. We have to observe them kind of in an outdoor environment before we can release them. And so I followed her into the aviary, and she unzipped the enclosure, and I said, is this the first time the sun has hit this animal? And she said, yeah. And it was just this, even I've been doing this work for so long, but this moment of, wow, we had to kind of teach this animal how to fly and grow it up from being this tiny little featherless baby to now watching the sun hit it for the first time.
Oh my gosh.
It just kind of got out of the cage and just sat in the sun for a minute, and it was like we were all feeling that moment for this little bird. And then the hummingbird just, of course, went up and found its nectar that it was placed all around the enclosure. But it really, I don't know, it was just this kind of moment of wow, we really do this really hopeful, joyful, work. As hard as it is, and it is hard, it is also incredibly rewarding.
I bet it is. How long have you've been doing it for, 6 years then?
Yeah. I came on at the end of 2017.
And so what drew you to this work?
Well, I've always, I gravitated toward, nonprofit work and, caring for my community. And I was introduced, to Wildlife Care Network. They were hiring, And I responded, to the ad and met the board, and the board president asked me to come out to the center. And so I went out to the center, and at that time it was like this little building, and they have some outdoor aviaries and some seabird pools. And then after that, kitchen was in a shed. The office trailer was also the songbird area, and the bathroom kind of doubled as a kitchen, and there was no place for me to sit. I actually bought a picnic table from the thrift store and sat out in a field, and with an umbrella, and worked where I could get Wi-Fi. And, I just got that sense when I walked through the property with the board president that they really could use some help, and I could see myself helping. And I just had this big sense of possibility. And now that we have the hospital and the vet team and all of these things in place, I see possibility again.
Oh gosh.
Oh,
well, I say they're so lucky. We're all so lucky to have you.
Thank you, Cynder. I feel blessed to be, where I am and working with such a hardworking team of people and getting to see these incredible creatures, up close. It is a unique privilege, and it's one I definitely don't take for granted.
Yeah, I can tell you are right where you belong. Thank you so much for all of your good work and for coming on our show to share with our audience.
Oh, thanks for having me. Yeah.
And thanks for joining us on 805 Focus, and we'll see you next time.